And your winner of the 2014 Mr. Olympia is not Kai Green, it's Phil Heath. We all know Kai Green never did go on to win a Mr. Olympia event. Some people say he never won because he lacked traps. I don't think so. I think there was other factors in that. I think Kai having weak traps, among other things, kept him away from winning a Mr. Olympia event. But that is a very interesting topic, and today we will look at count them, five bodybuilders that never did win a Mr. Olympia title due to one weak body part. And we're going to begin way back in the dawn of times. Well, not that far, 1970s. This is Serge Nubret, one of the best bodybuilders of his time. Look at those pecs. He would make any bodybuilder today envious of that great big man's chest. Arms, abs, quads, he had it all. And I mean, stick him up against any other bodybuilder of his time. And if you ask me, he looks the best. He looks better than Franco, Serge, Arnold, and even Frank Zane. So why, oh why, is Serge Nubret the only guy in this lineup? That's right, the only guy never to win a Mr. Olympia title. I mean, if every other bodybuilder did go on to win a title, why not Serge Nubret? Well, you turn these guys around, and it is plain to see that Serge Nubret had no calves. His back was even pretty good. You can see that. He's matching Serge, Arnold too. But as far as the calves are concerned, now I will take the time to mention there is such thing as politics, and I could be totally wrong on this one. It could be other factors involved. But for the video, I mean, the evidence is there. Serge Nubret. But either way, guys, Serge most certainly, even with the smaller calves, he probably still should have deserved a title. But could you, just for 1 second, imagine this physique with great big calves? Now that, to me, is pure perfection. And that brings us to number 2 on the list, Tom Platz. Wow, Serge Nubret, Tom Platz. Well, if I'm saying that these guys only had one body part keeping them from winning an Olympia title, they have to be the very best of the best. And I'm sure not too many people would complain about Tom Platz winning a Mr. Olympia title or 2 or 3. The thing of it is, did those arms match that upper body? Well, they weren't too bad. They weren't too bad. The guy was missing absolutely nothing, let's face it. So why is he on this video? Well, he placed very high in 1981. He placed third, and that was with politics against him. So considering Chris Dickerson did in fact win the Olympia title the following year, a lot of people, including myself, figure that Tom Platz absolutely, considering he was so very young, should have went on to win an Olympia or maybe even 4 or 5. But here's the sad part. Here's the thing. The following year, Tom Platz stepped out on stage and he had torn his bicep earlier on that year, and it definitely did not look the same. I mean, torn biceps. Chris Dickerson had a torn bicep, but he did not have huge biceps. I mean, look at this, guys. Platz actually did have some very impressive biceps. And of course, if you can't train one, the other one doesn't grow. You can't do 2-arm bicep curls for quite a while. So definitely ruined Tom Platz look for sure. So yeah, very sad to his fans, I'm sure. But the guy's a legend, a legitimate legend, who never won a Mr. Olympia title because of, in my opinion, his torn bicep, which is kind of cheating in this video. It's not really a weak muscle group per se, considering, I mean, look at the guy back in the day. We didn't have to edit a picture for him. So Platz, number 2, 1 weak muscle group, just his one bicep. Number 3 on the list, I will admit, Gary Stridham, little bit of a filler. You guys wanted to see 5? I'll give you 4 with Gary as a bonus. An extra. Well, not really an extra. Yeah, he was pretty good. Could he have went on to win a Mr. Olympia title? Gee, I don't know. He most certainly was not going to win an Olympia title when he turned around and displayed his very weak back. Weak in comparison. Of course, guys, we're talking Olympia title. And a back like this, it's just not going to do. Not going to do at all. So Gary Stridham, a very weakly voted, weak as in week, not 7 days, what have you. But anyway, let us go to a real contender, number 4 on the list. Perhaps the realest contender on this list. Paul Dillette, he had the arms. He had the height. He was giant. He had the width. He was massive. Pecs. Abs till Tuesday. Lats, as you can see. From the front, anyway. Wheels, of course. Oh, I can't see his calves. Was it his calves? Did he have weak calves? He had weak calves, didn't he? Oh, on the contrary, Paul Dillette, Dorian Yates included, he probably had the best calves of his time. Some of the very best. But as you can tell by my lat comment, they didn't look bad from the front, but when he turned around, oh, what a sad, sad state of affairs this is. Paul Dillette, his back was weak. That was the one muscle group that kept him from winning an Olympia title. Now, granted, 1994 here, you can see it wasn't too bad. He got it a little bit better. But no way, shape, or form was it in proportions with the rest of his physique, even the conditioning of his lower half. Makes his back look soft. And you can compare him with the other guys of his time. Kevin Levrone, Sean Ray, also who some people could say, oh, their backs kept them from winning an Olympia title. I don't think their backs were that weak. Probably not their strong points, but compared to Paul Dillette, not good at all. And okay, well, here's Lee Priest. And I figure you blokes probably thought I might mention Lee Priest. Because his back, like Paul Dillette, very similar. Maybe they trained together. Maybe they lived together. Interesting. But yes, Priest, even with the back, I don't think he would have been an Olympia champion. He was too small, too short. Size does matter, guys. He's basically, essentially, or in sense, I don't know what I'm trying to say, fancy words here, but I think he's basically Sean Ray with a worse back, and Sean Ray had a better back, and he never won the Olympia title. But having said that, Paul Dillette, his back, it was weak, guys. It was weak. I'm sure you guys are thinking, well, it's not that bad. Have a look at Paul in this light. Paul Dillette with a good back? Wow. Jeez Louise. Yeah, he would have went on to 1998, destroyed everybody. He probably would have already disposed of Dorian Yates in 94, for goodness sakes, if he had a back like this. So Paul Dillette definitely deserves a mention on this video. Probably the most. Well, here's number 5. This guy could be the most, too. Great big Dennis Wolf. He had it all, much like Paul Dillette. Very, very tall stature. Big wide clavicle, wide enough. Small waistline. Huge big quads. Unlike Paul, this guy actually had a decent back. More than decent, at least in the rear lat spread. I mean, probably the widest up on the stage there. So you can't say that Dennis Wolf had a weak back. I would not. But I would say that he had weak calves. Very weak calves indeed. And in my opinion, that kept him from winning at least one Mr. Olympia title. Now hear me out. Hear me out for a second before you get all worked up in a hissy fit. 2014, it was Dennis Wolf. We had Sean Roden, Dexter the Blade Jackson. It was guys like that. And when Kai Green retired, ultimately he did quit the Olympia anyway, 2014. It was one of these guys. It was destined. One of these guys was gonna be the one to dethrone Phil Heath, which obviously Sean Roden did. Dexter the Blade Jackson, he already won one, so why not Dennis Wolf? It's because of his calves. His calves were weak. Him and Roden were, trading places back and forth, but ultimately it was Roden that prevailed. And I mean, if Dennis Wolf had better calves, he would have been getting better placings. He would have had more momentum behind him. And who knows? He might have won 2018. You never know. He could have won 2017, for goodness sakes. But Dennis Wolf, I am sure he was the first guy on every one of your minds. If, in fact, this guy had great big calves, he'd have been Mr. Olympia. Let's bring back the small ones for a second. So yes, wow, what a difference one little thing makes. And like I said, Lockaw said, 2013, he would have maybe got a better, well, I don't know if he would have beat Kai. Maybe, you never know. And the rest would have been history. Would have been a lot of stock and momentum behind Dennis Wolf. Dun, 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 dun. Might wind up in a body bag. Well, that is my 5 bodybuilders with one weak muscle group that kept them from winning a Mr. Olympia title. Or who knows, 2, 3, 4, perhaps. Either way, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope I did the requester justice. And let me know in the comments section below who I missed. Mohammed Makaway, weak back. Lee Priest, no glutes. Chris Cormier, the party bone. He had a weak party bone. He could bend his rubber arm. Come on, Chris, let's hit the clubs. Go into the club. Dancing at the club. Accentuate the club. And Flex Wheeler, it was his gut. No, not his midsection. His gut. He was always telling him that he wanted sweets and chips and stuff, so he would answer to his hunger. No good. Stuff like that makes me laugh. Have a great one, guys.